Yeah, my very, very first guitar teacher was teaching out of a church and very religious. And I would come into him, I was obsessed with ACDC, and I would want to be learning like Highway to Hell and Back in Black, and he would tell me no. Like, he wouldn't teach them to me.
And you're like, one of your favorite guitar players was Slash.
Mm-hmm.
So, I grew up freaking idolizing Slash, but I could never figure out how to play his, like, I could never figure out how to play the Guns N' Roses songs.
Uh-huh.
Because I just felt there was so much happening in those records, I couldn't even hear the guitar parts. Did you struggle with that too, or were you able to pick them out and figure out what parts to play?
Well, I am lucky enough to, there's tablature for.
So you were reading the tablature.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't doing anything by ear. I wasn't.
That makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, I was not good enough at that point to be doing that.
So you were looking up the tablature.
Yeah.
And were you figuring out, to me, like, I realized later that Izzy Stradlin had some of the great leads on those records.
He did.
Right?
Yeah, same. He's a incredible rhythm player.
Incredible rhythm player, right? But even some of the solos on that record, he played.
He did.
But that was your guy. You grew up, like, Slash made you want to pick up a guitar?
Yeah.
Is that basically right?
Yeah. He is the reason I picked up a guitar.
And was it, you just saw him in the music video and you just thought, God, this guy's got it all figured out.
I thought, that guy looks cool. I want to do that.
He looked the freaking coolest, right?
Yeah.
And then did you learn those riffs? Because I tried so hard to learn those riffs, I could never figure them out. It was like very discouraging for me.
Yeah, well, there was a point, I'd probably been playing for 3 or 4 years where I could play Appetite for Destruction note for note, top to bottom.
And could you do both guitar parts?
I think I mostly just learned what Slash was playing.
What Slash is doing, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing about that, learning things note for note that way, is I was never learning any of, like, the theory behind that. I had no idea. Like, I was amazed the first time I learned the pentatonic scale. I'm like, wow, like, I don't have to play someone else's solo or what someone else made, like, because I can make up my own thing on the spot. And I only learned that, like, 3 years ago. So for the first 4 years, I was, like, playing Guns N' Roses and all these other songs note for note, and I didn't really get anything out of it because I didn't know, like, even just, like, the minimal theory behind it.
So does that then make it easier? Like, when you learn the pentatonic scale, it kind of creates, like, a framework in the guitar where then the licks, I feel like, come easier because then you start spotting them. You're like, oh, that's sort of like the first position pentatonic shape or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Then I started being able to, like, apply this stuff that I had already learned, which I didn't know what to do with it before.
But would you basically just sit in your room and learn from tabs?
Kind of. Also, YouTube videos were helpful. I did have teachers. I had a few teachers. I went to, School of Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That place made me quit guitar for a few months.
Really? Why?
I mean, that's where I was learning all these songs note for note. I feel like there was just no one was, like, pushing me. It was just like, it was like I would come in, we would learn a song, and that's it. Like, literally, we would pull up the tab, and me and this guy would, like, learn this song. And that was it. Like, no one ever explained to me, like, there's more you can do than playing what someone else has already written.
And was it learning the pentatonic scales that started to push you beyond that?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Figuring out how to do that?
Yeah.
What's the story I've heard that you went to a guitar teacher, like, at church and you tried to get him to teach you ACDC?
Yeah.
And he basically said he wouldn't teach you ACDC, which I think is hilarious. Is that what happened?
Yeah, my very, very first guitar teacher was teaching out of a church and very religious, and I would come into him, I was obsessed with ACDC, and I would want to be learning, like, Highway to Hell and Back in Black, and he would tell me no. Like, he wouldn't teach them to me.
Because he was like, we're in a church, we're not going to do Highway to Hell?
Yeah.
That just seems so crazy to me.
So then I went home, and I learned TNT just by listening to it, which ended up being, like, the first song I ever learned by ear.
That was it. And how'd you figure it out? You just figured out those open chord shapes or those positions that was in, and
honestly, I'm pretty sure I was playing it on like one string. It wasn't
just like getting the fundamentals.
I don't even think I knew chords at the time.
Yeah. But then but mostly you were learning this like hair metal stuff, which do those licks play a part in your playing? Because I feel like every now and then you'll be playing very bluesy, and then you'll throw in some kind of shred lick. And I'm like, is that coming from like your early days playing guitar when you were learning those hair metal bands note for note, or is that coming from somewhere else?
Maybe a little bit. There's a few licks that I held on to from those songs, but I mean, honestly, I feel like I've forgotten most of them.
Most of the hair metal licks.
Yeah.
Oh
well, also because I didn't know what to do with them, like I was just saying, so there's no reason for me to like specifically remember a part.
To keep those licks,
yeah,
right? Yeah. So then, but so I've heard you say you really started to practice the guitar during the pandemic. Then you would spend so much time with the guitar. Is that when you really figured out how to do it?
Yes.
I don't understand though, because I feel like everything I've ever seen you play just sounds incredible. Was there a time before that when you just didn't sound very good nobody saw this?
Oh yeah, I was horrible. A few people have called me like teenage guitar prodigy. I'm like, you did not hear what I sounded like 4 years ago, because it was definitely not something. I don't feel like I just picked up a guitar and was good at it. Like, I have put in so many hours into it to get to where I am right now, and I still have so much learning to do. Still have more hours to put in.
What do you feel like? Where do you feel like you still have to learn, or what do you feel like you're still working on?
I mean, honestly, everything. I feel like I learned so much playing out as often as I do that even my playing, at least I feel like even my playing from like months ago is different from how it might be right now. I feel like it's always changing.
How much are you practicing right now versus you're just getting better by playing out? Because you're out playing like every single night, right?
Yeah.
Like, are you still shedding a lot right now, or are you mostly just getting out and playing?
I try to. I mean, there's a huge difference between practicing and just playing, and I feel like I do more playing than practicing sometimes, but I do try to practice as much as I can.
What are you practicing though? Sometimes I pick up a guitar to practice and I feel like I'm overwhelmed by the amount of concepts I could practice that I just end up not even practicing anything. Like, I'm so overwhelmed by the amount I can do on the guitar. Like, if you were to go home this afternoon and practice, like, would you be trying to get licks down or scale shapes, or like what would you be playing with?
A lot of times recently I'll look up videos of a player that I like what's the guy's name who plays the guitar with his fingers like a bass? Do you know?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. He's not an American.
I'm gonna butcher his name if I say it. I'm not.
Is it Mateo?
It's Mateo something.
Mateo. I know exactly. Wait. Let me figure that out. It's okay, that guy. What's the deal with that guy? Because I look at that guy and I go, I don't want to learn how to play like that. Like, it's great that he can do it. He sounds incredible, but I don't want to spend endless time learning this technique.
No,
like,
I would never play like that. But I have been
I'm trying to find his name.
Going through YouTube videos of his and like slowing it down, and then I'll learn like a specific lick he plays, and then I might like
he's got good licks.
Yeah, I'll learn the lick, and then I'll like go back and be like, okay, so like what is this associated with? Like, what's going on here? And like kind of like try to analyze it a bit more than just learning a lick.
Mateo Mancuso? Is that how you say his name?
I don't know.
Mateo. Did you see the interview he did with Rick Biondo?
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh my God, he's like a monster.
Yeah.
Is that the guy that like inspires you though?
No, I mean, I only honestly just started watching some of his videos, but he is someone who I've pulled a few licks from recently.
If you're starting out guitar right now, what are the tips? Where do you start? Like, if you're trying to give advice to someone.
Learn how to hold a pick.
You never hold a pick though. I see what you do with your pick.
Well, I mean, like, hold it correctly if you are gonna. I always have my pick tucked. I always have a pick in my hand.
Yeah.
But I do finger pick a lot. But I was first starting out, I held my pick so wrong. It was like this almost. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but I feel like it really delayed my learning a lot because I didn't have a good picking technique.
What kind of pick are you using? Let me see that. Is this your pick that you use all the time?
Yeah.
Where's the This is a thick pick.
Yeah.
Why do you not have picks with your name on it? How is that possible? This is a 2 millimeter.
Yeah.
This is thick. Is this what you always play?
Always.
Why this pick? Why is that the right pick?
I feel like they give like a. This may be me being like very nitpicky, but I feel
No
like
pun
they,
intended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they sound kind of softer, and it's easier.
There's less plunk, kind of. You hear the pick less when it's thicker, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I cannot play with bendy picks. Like I just.
Yeah, I use like a
Can't.
1.2 millimeter.
Yeah, I'll use those occasionally.
To me, 2 millimeters thick, because then I find that's a good balance for strumming.
Yeah.
With it, 2 millimeter, that's a thick pick. You need to get picks with your face on it. You would be able to rock it. Okay, so hold your pick right. I'm fascinated by your technique though, because I've never seen anyone play the way you play. Like people will hybrid pick a lot, but you'll just go quickly between tucking the pick in, just using your fingers, and then grabbing the pick. Like sometimes between phrases, right?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'll play one note with a pick, and then the next note isn't with a pick.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just something that I've always done and never realized I was doing it. Like I'm not like thinking about it when I do it. Like, okay, I'm gonna finger pick this note. It just happens.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know why, but
It just works.
yeah, it works for me.